All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Wally Smith. I'm the Director of Camping Services here in Three Harbors Council, and thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight is kind of an overview, question and answers, and to go over a few things that, anyway, for those of you who may be interested in going on a Philmont contingent for this coming summer. We are starting this behind the eight ball, so we are late to it, but I've been talking with Philmont and they can make this work for us. Two other things I just want to mention. If anyone on here is more interested in the adult only contingent, those are only offered in the fall, but at the end of this Zoom meeting, I'll be glad to talk to you about it because we are going to have one again next fall. We just had one this past fall, and Graham here was on it. And Graham, you got anything to say about your trip to Philmont?
Well, it was an unforgettable experience, and my kids are really excited. We presented it to our troop, so we'll see if there's other kids that are interested, but I know my two boys are. Pete wasn't able to join us. He's had an accident, so I don't know whether he'll be physically able to for either the summer or fall. We'll see how he's doing in a year.
Okay, makes perfect sense. Also, if anyone feels like 2025 is not the year and you'd rather push it out to 2026, we can talk to you at the end of this also about that. So that would be a possibility. The summer one, just to give you a little bit of background, the summer track is mostly youth. And the tracks can, anyway, the total number in the crew can be 8 to 12. There must be 3 adults. The maximum there can be is 4 adults, and the rest would be youth. We don't, and the crew size can be between 8 and 12. So, if you had 3 adults and you had 5 youth, that would work. But anyway, there are some restraints. All scouts must have completed the 8th grade to go on it. They must be 14 or they've completed the 8th grade and are 13 years old. So that is the anyway, let's see the rules for this. Philmont is the pinnacle of Scouts BSA. If you've been to Philmont, raise your hand or put your hand up in your screen. All right, we got several there. In fact, how many of you went there as a youth? All right. Everyone went there as an adult who had been there. That's fantastic. You guys know that there are weight requirements and there are other health requirements that are necessary to go to Philmont. And at the end of this session, I will send you an email with a link with all the information on this so that you can take a look at it and just see. I can tell you right now, most people can make the weight. You just a little bit of pre-planning and working ahead. Anyway, and it's not a huge issue for most people. Some of the other health issues, that's something you need to look at and talk to your doctor on before making a decision. Philmont has a number of different tracks. They have a 7-day track, a 9-day track, and a 12-day track. What generally happens is the scouts go into anyway, we'll take the train either from Milwaukee or Sturtevant, and we'll take the train to Chicago, switch to a Southwest Chief line, and we'll take it to the nearest station in Raton, New Mexico, about 20-25 minutes from Philmont. Philmont will then pick you up and take you to the ranch, and generally you will leave several days before you hit the trail. This past fall, we left on a Saturday. We got there Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon, we did our medical rechecks, had a shakedown with equipment, met our ranger, went through a lot of stuff, and then Monday, probably midday, we hit the trail. So there is some time built into these tracks in which you will need to be at Philmont just to prepare and get ready. And we were there in the fall when it wasn't busy, but imagine in the summer, you could have 10, 20 different tracks leaving every day. So anyway, the reason for that time is necessary to get everyone through. Um, at the end of the track, you will be picked up and brought back. And generally, you will probably leave within 24 hours or so of coming in. We came off the trail on Friday about midday of our track, and Saturday we left for the train station and got home by Sunday night. So it is a quick turnaround, and even the 7 day track is more than 7 days. So if you're an adult, you should plan for 9 to 10 days at least. Maybe 11 would be a better conservative time of the amount of time you'll be away. Now you can book in that with weekends and stuff to save you some days, but it is not a track that will just last 1 week, and you only have to take 1 week of vacation. So wanted to share that with you. The different tracks, the 7 day track, approximately with all the transportation costs and everything, and these are estimates, about $1,875. That includes transportation. That includes all the food at Philmont, all the time at Philmont, everything like that you would need. The 9 day would be a little over $2,000, and the 12 day would be a little over $2,100. And again, those are estimates on train fares. They can go up, they can go down a little bit, but that's a pretty good estimate for what the train fare would be. Depending on the number of people going and the time and discounts, we may be able to cut that down a little bit. But anyway, we don't know that far out. So we're averaging everyone about $300 for a round trip for the train fare. Um, you guys are probably asking, let me pull up my notes because I have the Philmont is strenuous. You will need a backpack. You guys would all know that. You will also, in addition to carrying your own clothing and goods, you will also be sharing equipment for your crew going out. So some people would be carrying anyway cooking. Some might have the stove. Some may have the dining fly. Some may have the important toilet paper that you need. And there are many different things a crew would take. So when you pack your pack, you can't stuff it with everything, and you also want to be cognitive of your weight. You'll also be carrying your food. The 12 day will have a food drop midway through, in which you don't have to carry the entire track of food. But the 7 day would probably not have a food drop, and you would be carrying your food for that whole time. So anyway, kind of want to stop there and see what kind of questions. Some of you are knowledgeable about Philmont, and some of you may not be. And if you guys have any questions at this point, or if not, I can keep going. But just want to see if there's any questions so far.
I was wondering if there's going to be more than, I can't remember what you called it, more than one team, if there's more than 8 scouts and adults interested.
We have a number that are interested, and that's one thing I was going to ask. If we filled up one crew, we can certainly get a second crew. So that's not a huge issue. And just wondered here if you guys could put your cameras on or hit the chat or something. How many of you have youth or scouts that are interested that may be interested in going?
This is Matt Gittens. My son, Charlie, would be interested. So my questions would be, when are we looking to finalize dates for the trek as well as registration, and when there would be deadlines?
All right. Well, that's a good question, because on Friday I did get the latest update of what's available, and we would need to make that decision here very shortly. If we have enough people tonight to make that decision, we will, because we are kind of behind the eight ball. Most tracks have already paid their first couple of deposits by now, but Philmont's going to work with us on that, so that's not an issue. One of the dates that had come up was the 28th or 29th of July, towards the end of the summer. I don't think the first one on June 6th would work for us, because I think most of our scouts are still in school or just getting out at that point. Anyway, if you live in the southern part of the United States, you've been out of school for 3 or 4 weeks by then. But was there
Those are the only two options, beginning of June, end of July.
we have, I'm trying to stay away from the beginning of June. We do have well, first off, let's do this. If anyway, because we will need adults on this, and I think we need to plan it around adults who would be willing to go on this. The 12-day, 9-day, or 7-day, because this requires a decent amount of time off. And just wanted to know, do we have any adults on here that want to go on the track? And what's your take? Because then I can go and look at the dates here on my chart to see, what our options would be. Are there any adults on the call that want to go on the track?
I would definitely go. I own my own company, so dates are flexible. It'll be more based on what the kids want to do in terms of length of trip. I could do any.
All right. Any here, I got a couple chats here from
this is Justin Plogert. I'm available for how many ever days.
oh, fantastic.
Though we do have our Tusomis scout trip towards the end of July, early August. So I guess that would be a limiting factor.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, you don't want to miss that. Are there any other adults? Because we really need 3 minimum. 4 would be good in case something happened and we lost one adult, because we have to have 3 to go on it.
Would you consider, what would you consider an adult? 21 and older, as I have my 18, 19-year-old Eagle Scout registered. And he's in that like junior range. What is that? I don't know if that
18 would be an adult.
Okay, so my 19-year-old at that time would be very interested in going with my younger scout.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Archer just turned 18 and he's working on his Scoutmaster training now. So I know he's interested, but it's also he'll be getting ready for college too. So trying to find out more about it, and the dates will definitely matter.
Sure. I totally get it.
Same.
Given the 7, 9, and 12, would the 9 be maybe kind of in the middle, might be the best option? If we went with the 9, we have starting July 20th would be the first day all the way through the 28th. So anytime in that last 10 days of July, the track could start for a 9-day. If we want a 7-day, the end of June and from middle July all the way through the end of July. And the 12-day, we'll start at the end of June because beginning of June is not going to work. We can go on the 12-day anytime from like the 21st of June, and it pretty much goes almost every other day or something all the way through the 25th of July.
I'm assuming the differences between the different days are just how much you're hiking, right?
Correct.
What is the average hike per day?
Oh, that's a really good question. Once the crew gets gets appointed, they get some say on what kind of track they want to do. We have anything from a more easy track to moderate to the extreme. The extreme, you're going to put on 10 or 12 miles a day with a full pack. The easy, you're probably going to go, I'm going to say about 6. And the moderate would be somewhere in between. But it really depends on the route that they select. And, that'll be worked out with Philmont on what's available and also the number of days and when you're coming out. There's no way to tell that in advance right now. Someone put a thing about tents, sleeping bags, sleeping pads. Yes, you would need to bring that stuff. The tents, during the summer, you must put 2 people in every tent because many of the campsites are limited size, and at night you may have 10 to 15 different crews all camping in a campsite at once. And most of the campsites are near multiple trails going in different direction. So it's not like everyone's hiking the same trail, but they could be going both ways or just stopping by in that campsite and going a couple miles down and hitting another trail to the right or left. So anyway, the campsites, some of them are really, really large and they have a lot of people sleeping in them. And so not everyone can bring their own tent during the summer. But great question. You will want to bring sleeping bags. You will want to bring a sleeping pad. How many people either with youth or youth that are on here are interested in going? All right. All right. Well, we got several here. As for the adults that are interested in going, is there a time that would work best for you guys? Because that's the key to it, is making sure it works for the adults.
Any of the late June, mid-July dates are going to work for us. Once we start getting into August, my son's going to be getting ready for college.
All right. We're looking at this is for the 7-day. We could start the 26th or 28th of June. For the 9-day, we could start July 20th. And the 12-day, we got lots of options throughout the summer. The 12-day is equivalent to someone taking like 2 weeks off of vacation or more.
I don't know if this enters into the equation at all, but I know the monsoon season in Northeast New Mexico is between late June, early July. It usually goes through August, I believe, or early August. So I don't know if that's a consideration at all. I've only been there early June, so we had perfect weather.
I've been there twice in September, and it's been great. I know people that have gone in June and July. They've had great weather. I haven't met too many people that got rained out the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think so.
A lot of people they get rain 1 or 2 days. But I don't think it's gonna stop your trip at all. It just it'll just slow you down cooking food and stuff. But you definitely will be taking a dining file with you to cook under.
So I'm with the timing of this, and it sounds like there's a lot of things to work out here for 2025. I'm wondering if maybe 574 would want to wait until 2026 and take some more time to kind of pull some stuff together. But we might have some kids that turn 18 at that point. Is they can what I'm hearing from you is they can go, they just have to go as an adult, right?
They have to go as an adult, and we're limited to 3 to 4 adults.
Got it. Okay. All right.
But if we're planning 2026, we'll need to come up with calendar dates right away because we are kind of behind anyway, we're right at the time that we have to register right now for 2026. There had been a few people ask about 2025, and that's why we put this together. But if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, but just wanted to put it out there because we are limited. No crew can have more than 4 adults. Any other thoughts on dates, or is there enough consensus that we can work something through, or not at this point? And that's okay. I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah, hey Wowie, this is Ray from Troop 15.
Yes.
From the chat, it looks like most folks would be available late June. And I think, like I said, for the adults, it might be easier to start with the 7-day and see who's available for that. Folks who can take off work.
Yeah. Oh,
So I think that would be
yeah.
easier.
I
And then
totally agree. The 7-day, you still get the Philmont experience, but time off is precious right now for a lot of people.
yeah, so I think maybe we just say, hey, let's go late June, 7-day, see what adults, including 18, 19, young adults can go, and then work backwards from there.
Yeah. So looking at this for the 7-day, we can the first day on the trail, or the first day at Philmont, 26th or 28th of June.
With that, what if your 17-year-old turns 18 while you're out there?
Oh, that's a great question. There is a precedent set on that. The first day at Philmont is whatever age they are is what they are for the entire track.
So in June, what were those 2 dates you were thinking of going?
For the 7-day, would be the first day there would be the 26th or the 28th of June for the 7-day. That means we'd probably leave here 24th for the 26th or 25th.
So those dates are, so the 24th of June is on a Tuesday, the 25th is on a Wednesday.
Correct.
Sounds good to me. My son's looking at me like, Mom, what's happening? Like, jump on the bus.
Yeah, the 20, yeah, the 7 days, the number of days at Philmont. It just doesn't include the travel.
So if we did that, they would be gone for 4th of July. Is that right?
Yes, they would. Justin, when do you go to camp?
Right now, I think we're scheduled for the first week of August, but we were hoping to move that up 1 week. As some
Okay.
scouts can't make it, so that's why I said July is a bit, or end of July and first week of August is a bit touchy.
Okay. But going at the end of June, beginning of July would not be a problem.
Yeah, correct.
Give extra people off.
Yeah, and just a note that I think NYLT, which a lot of people have plans for, is June 12th to 20th, somewhere in there. So that's worth considering for those that were already planning to do that, right?
Yeah, hang on a second. I'll tell you when NYLT is.
I think those were the staff dates that I had written down.
Yeah, they are. NYLT is out of there by noon on Friday the 20th. If you're a participant for NYLT, you're done on the 19th.
Wally, Alan brought up a good point in the chat, something that believe I'd read too about young adults counting either way, depending on how it's needed. Is that something you have more information on?
I can check on that. I was under the understanding, talking to them, that whatever age they are when they get there on the first day is the age they are for the entire track. But I can double check and clarify that. 18-year-olds go on a service corps as an option. Yes, you can. That is set up through Philmont. The council really doesn't have anything to do with that. Going back, are dates in August possible for 7-day? No, there are not any left.
When's usually the busiest time at Philmont? Like when they're very, very booked up? Is there a trending time of year that happens?
Basically mid-June through second week of August. They'll put close to 20,000 people through Philmont in that 2-month time span.
That's a couple more than a few.
Yes.
Excuse me. Will there
Yes.
be a list of like the gear we need to bring and what would be provided? Will that be sent out like when Philmont
Yes.
gets closer? Okay.
Yes. Yes, you will receive all that. And also, there the health things, and then we'll talk about travel. I'm assuming everyone wants to take the train. There is an option that you could fly and then rent a van or something and drive 4.5 hours from Denver. The only airports near Philmont are Denver, which is a little over 4 hours away. Colorado Springs, over 3 hours away, and Albuquerque, a little under 3 hours away. But from Milwaukee, you can't fly to Colorado Springs or Albuquerque direct. Denver's the only one that has multiple direct flights. But the airline ticket and then renting, I mean, just the airline ticket will cost more than the train ticket. And then renting a car that basically you're paying to rent a van or something that's just going to sit at Philmont for 6 days. I mean, it sounds like does the does the 26th of June sound like maybe the best date at this point? All right. Well, what I can do on this, does anyone want to, I mean, even if we have a crew go in 2025, is anybody interested in pushing it off to 2026? Or they feel that's better for them? All right. Well, I will work on those questions about the 18-year-olds just to get clarification on that. One of the other thing on the adults is we will need three adults in the crew. No, 3 people in the crew. So it could be a youth. We'll need wilderness first aid. That is a requirement that 3 people have it, and also 3 people have CPR. The wilderness first aid course that we put on as a council includes the CPR and the AED. So that would all be one. And we can take the cost of that and divide it up by the crew so that it's not coming out of just one person's pocket. But just to let you know, wilderness first aid is, I think the course we did last year was about $180. It was 2 full days, included meals, but you went home at night. You stayed at home. But it was held at the Milwaukee Scout Service Center, and it was held from 8 to 5, 2 days. So it's an intense course, but it's a really good course too. Any other questions?
So I heard,
In regards to,
oh, go ahead.
in regards to the wilderness first aid, that's good for 2 years?
Correct.
Okay. I may need to retake it before this trek. My 2-year would be up like midway through the trek.
Oh, well, that's another thing. If it's good on the first day of the trek, it's good. It's good for the entire trek. You're not the first person who has had that problem. Justin, you started to say something?
Oh boy, if only I remembered what I was going to ask. Oh yeah, if I've heard that there's been occasional issues with trains where it gets delayed by a day or 2, or something adverse happens. How does that work if, let's say, a delay on the train causes us to be late or something on the way there? Do we just miss out? Do they? Well, yeah. How does that logistically work?
Well, what they're instituting here in 2025 is you're going to get out at least, you're going to get there a day and a half before. So if your train is delayed a day, you will still hit the trail when you plan to. In the past, what they've done is as soon as the crew could go out, they took you out, and you may miss one day or one campsite, but you still got to do the track.
Got it.
But
If
we're
we
gonna
have
try
any
to
questions,
we're gonna try to plan it so that you're gonna get out there in more than enough time. So if there is a delay on the train, it will not it shouldn't, unless it's catastrophic for 2 or 3 days, that it shouldn't hurt you. Now, if there's a major train wreck or something, you know, we may be out of luck on that one, but that's very rare too.
if we have any questions that we can't think of tonight, can we just email you about it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to send a email out with a lot of information. I'm also going to send out a sign up form for the 7-day track, and I will put that out anyway. Let's see, tomorrow. What I will do is we will ask for the initial fee of $150, but we will only use it if the track goes forward. If it doesn't go forward, we will give it all back to you. But that is what we need to pay Philmont just to get the track registered. That's kind of where we are. You will have a chance to back out before it becomes official. But anyway, it's just one of those things where we need to register this as quickly as possible if we have enough people to do it. And I will send you all kinds of information, including the health form. The Philmont health form is a little different than the one that we use for a lot of council events and things. It has a few more areas to it to look at. And it does need, just like your summer camp, it does need a doctor's signature. So we're looking at the 26th of June and a 7-day track. Is that correct with everyone? Okay. Is anyone on here interested in 2026? It came up, so I just thought I'd ask.
Yes, yeah, I think 574 is more interested in 2026 than 2025 at this point.
Okay. If you could stay on afterwards, David, I'd love to talk to you about that then.
Okay, and I've got other people here that that are interested too, so the rest of my crew can stay on too for the moment.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Happy to try to make this work for you. Is there anyone on here that was interested in the all adult one in the fall?
Possibly me and one of my adult kids.
Okay. All right. If you want to stay on afterwards, I'll talk to you too about it.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, what I will do is send this out tomorrow to everyone. And we are recording this for a couple people who couldn't make it tonight. So I will send them the recording of this. Please respond as quickly as possible because, you know, anyway, we are living on borrowed time for 2025 because once those spots fill, we're going to lose them. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, but you also do your due diligence to make sure it's going to work for your schedule and everything. Any other questions?
And so Wally, how many times have the council put together a crew for Philmont in the past?
We have not done one since 2017. In 2018, we had a fire out there that Philmont was closed. 2020 it was closed. And then 2021 had some limited operation, and then 2022 it got back. So this is our first time in quite a number of years. But yeah, the last one was 2017, I believe, that we were actually, because the following year I think everything was canceled because of a forest fire.
Right. So what's the expectation for this crew in terms of, training, months beforehand, doing shakeouts, that kind of thing? Because people are signing up for this. I think it'd be good to know what you're completely signing up for, because it's just not like we're going to go do this camp out and come back. It's just,
Yeah.
this is a, a
Yeah. Oh
commitment.
no. Yeah.
Right.
A good point. There should be minimum of 2 hikes. Preferably one that has some hills to it, with your full pack. And it should, if you can do it on a weekend, that's great, but it needs to be a full day of hiking with your pack as a group, and then practicing with food preparation and everything else, so that you guys feel comfortable as a team going out there. There should also be an equipment shakedown before you go. There'll be one when you get out there. But there should be minimum 2. Most tracks require each member to do a little bit of training, hiking, to get ready for it before they go, in addition to the two practice runs.
How far do you go in those practice runs?
Excuse me?
How far do you go in those practice runs? Is that like is that 15 miles or 40
I
miles? I have
was,
no idea.
no, those, I'm trying to, a couple of troops that I know that have done this, is they went 8 to 10 miles.
Okay.
On the practice run. And the reason they went that far is because we don't quite have the hills here that they have out at Philmont. But there are a couple places where some troops have said are very good practice. Let's see, Lapham Peak out in Waukesha County has some pretty good hills there that are good. But unfortunately, Wisconsin is pretty flat compared to.
You pretty much need to go to Devil's Lake and hike up and down until you get your 7 to 10 miles in to get an idea of what you're in for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just for an example as well. So we went in 2023. It was Troop 252 with another troop out of Big Bend, and we did shakedowns starting in the spring. We met twice a week and hiked full pack for, all the way up to mid-June, and we did a camp out at Governor Dodge and did a 8 to 10 mile hike there, and did the cooking, and everything else that that we were going to be expected to do at Philmont. So when we got there, we were more than prepared. So
yeah, definitely. And doing a council contingent is a little bit more difficult than a troop, because you got people coming from all over, and they're
sure.
not all in the same. But definitely at least 2 practice hikes minimum together, plus the expectation is that everyone does a lot of preparedness on their own hiking and stuff, anyway, before or after.
When you mentioned that each crew member would have to carry part of the share of the equipment for the whole crew, what is when you're preparing and so forth, what is the usual percentage of, or how many pounds should you plan for in your pack for, that crew count?
Yeah. Chris, you may be able to have a better answer than I, because I did the fall one, which is a little different than the summer one.
Yeah, Justin, I can't remember what we had. I mean, we just made sure that we had a full pack. Some guys actually added weight, and they're put on weights on their ankles and that kind of stuff, which was, to me, was a little nutty. But I think as long as you get to the 40-pound mark, I think you're good to get used to that. And it depends on how much prep you do. I mean, if you're doing that a couple times a week, and a couple months out ahead of time, and it's a little bit heavier there, you'll be fine.
Very
And
good.
plus, plus we distributed away to people who needed help and that kind of thing as well. So when you have 8, 10 guys out there, you can juggle things around a little bit.
Right on. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Is there any council equipment that we'd be available to use, say stoves, MSRs, the water filtration, that kind of stuff? Or do we have to bring our own, you think?
I don't think we have good backpacking stoves. The water going in the summer, the water is much more available at the different sites. I don't know. I don't know that we have any filtration water backpacking equipment, and I'm pretty sure we do not have any backpacking stoves.
When we
But
were out there, sorry, Wally, when we were
Yeah.
out there, they treat the water. If you want to filter beyond that, about $20 it can get you a Sawyer Mini. But all the water has to get treated, and we had no stomach issues.
yeah, yeah, a lot of the major campsites, they all have water available. Graham, they just weren't open when we were there. They had drained them all. But anyway, a lot of your larger campsites all have supplies of drinking water.
Yeah, our crew had access to 2 MSR Guardian purifiers that we could filter anything. It could look muddy and it would filter fine, and it was great. But yeah, those are awesome. But you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, we can, I think they have tablets that treat the water as well. We just went with the purifiers.
Yeah. The tablets worked well. We used them a couple of times. We used them at some of the sites because we didn't have access to any good water anyway for our trip in September, because everything was closed down and winterized. But we used the tablets and they worked fine. And they're very light to carry.
Are there any like wildlife hazards that one should be aware of?
There is wildlife. I've talked to several people that have gone, and a few of you have been there, so you can add into this. Sometimes you will see wildlife from afar, but anyway, it is not something that is routinely you walk up on a bear or anything. You will encounter mini bears, which are chipmunks, and they like to get into your backpack, and if they smell food, they're going to go for it. But Chris or anyone else that had gone, what's a wildlife you saw when you were out there?
Nothing dangerous. There were a few deer that walked through our campsites while we're there. In fact, while one guy was doing his business on the provided toilet there, one almost like walked up to him, which was kind of funny. But there's bears there, there's snakes there, but we didn't see anything that was dangerous.
We saw
Yeah.
a mountain lion.
Yeah. I know troops that have seen bears on a ridge far away, nothing. And there are elk there too. In September, we didn't see anything, did we, Graham?
No, but I mean the domesticated animals can be just as hazardous. you could run into. We had a herd of horses come through the campsite one morning.
Yeah.
I was kind of nice. I heard something outside the tent, and 10 feet away was a stallion. But
yeah, it's a working
Yeah.
ranch. That's a good point. It's a working ranch, so there's
Yeah.
cattle there, definitely. That happened to us as well too. Cattle just came through out of nowhere, it seemed like. have to watch where you stop, walk.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Those are some good questions. Let me go through the chat here, make sure I haven't missed anything. Someone said that, can they drive to Philmont? You can drive. It's a long drive. Is that something you were thinking about, Justin, or?
Nope, just enumerating options is all.
Okay, okay. The thing about it is you will be tired from driving when you get there.
Sure. Yep. Make perfect sense.
The train is the cheapest option to get there. And Alan, I'll talk to you about the adult only. If anyone else is interested in the adult only, just stay on. And David, I'll talk to you about 2026.
If anyone's interested, I just put a link to the 2024 Philmont itinerary guidebook. Kind of talks about the different treks that are available. So it's a good resource to kind of look through as well.
Yeah. And I'll also send a lot of that stuff anyway tomorrow also. Next steps for payment is I will be sending out a form you can do online registration for both youth and adult. Again, we'll take a deposit, but that deposit will be refundable until we submit it to national. So at that point, when we're all ready, I will let everyone know that we're going to go ahead, and from that point on, it's non-refundable, but it will be refundable up to that point. All right. Any other questions? Matthew, you said Troop 61 may have additional scouts interested in 2026.
Correct. We have new scouts that would be at probably the right age at that time that
All
might
right.
be interested as well. So if there's any interest for future dates, that might be of interest too for our.
All right. What I'm probably going to do on the 2026 is do the same thing as what we're doing for 2025 and send that out, because we'll need to move on that, because they won't give us grace 2 years in a row for starting late. But anyway, I will send that to you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, for those of you who for 2026 stay on, and if you're interested in the individual, anyway, in the adult only in the fall, stay on. Everyone else, have a good evening and watch for my email tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to just shoot me an email or give me a phone call.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. John, what were your questions? We'll get you started.
Hey, Wally, I'm not looking to go till at least 2027, but my doctor and I had a discussion about high adventure when I got my annual physical, and I have some permanent injuries.
Uh-huh.
And she was not comfortable signing me off this year because of how my weight fluctuates.
Okay.
And so, do you have any insight into like how that plays into, like, if my doctor goes, okay, yeah, I think you're good to go. If I get to Philmont and I go through their check-in and they go, oh, hey, we're looking at these injuries, could they kick me off the list? Even though the doctor signs me off?
If your doctor signs you off, you're pretty good. The only thing I've seen that would supersede that is your heart rate and your weight. they are extremely extremely strict on your heart rate. And the problem is when you get to that altitude, it is.
I live down there. I know what it's like.
Yeah, some people can adjust to it very quickly, and some people can't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes an extra day or so usually the youth have no problem. It's the adults that have all the problems. And the irony of it is on the two tracks I've been on, the people who had medical conditions had no problem with the altitude. It's the people who had no health issues at all that had all kinds of problems with the altitude.
My experience is the cardio, right? Like I try and run 2 to 3 times a week, you know, when I'm able to, and I've never had problems. I've been at significant elevation multiple times.
Yeah.
And on short acclimatization. But then the second thing is with my back injury, I've actually lost height because I'm missing a disc. And my doctor wanted to know if she were to sign me off that I'm at the weight, but she looks at me at my full height, right? Like not my missing disc height. Like what is Philmont going to be like, oh no, we measure you in here. We don't care that you're missing discs. Would they then put me at a lower weight?
I think they're going to go by whatever the height your doctor puts on the form.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Your doctor's signature means the way your doctor fills it out means everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
John,
if someone comes in and it says on their thing that they went to the doctor 6 months ago and they were 10 pounds under the max, and then they come to Philmont and they suspect that you're 20 pounds heavier, they're gonna reweigh you. But the biggest thing is they really go after the heart rate.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I'm just with my permanent injuries with my knees and with my lower back, my doctor was concerned. She was like,
yeah,
she was kind of like this summer when I had my physical in June, she said something like, you know, with your injuries, I'm looking at this weight and yeah, you could make this weight, but she was like, I'd like you to be 40 pounds under the max weight for your height.
Yeah.
That's kind of where she's at because she's worried about me, you know, humping a rock over a mountain down there and blowing my knee back out.
Yeah. No. Good point. Good point. But your doctor has the most say of anyone.
Okay.
John, I just while we were on this meeting, I Googled it because I fluctuate between 286 and 293, and so I'm right around there. And what I found on the internet, it said what they want is they want you to be under 295. Period. It wasn't like a height versus weight. I don't know, but because they said they have their rescue equipment and everything they have has a weight limit of 295. So I don't think just for that quick reading I just did right now,
yeah,
I don't think they care what your height is. I think
so Philmont and Northern Tier have they do have a height weight chart. And
yeah.
If you come down there, like let's say you're a power lifter and you're ripped and you're overweight for your height, they'll do a body fat index on you. And if you bust your body fat. But I mean, I guess it's more like what Wally says. It's not like what I've gone through in the past where they're you know, bird dogging it. You know, and then for me, really mine is I got to get my doctor, you know, like you know, I was 2 years ago, she signed off on it. I was thinking I might go if I were asked to go, and I was fine. But then like, you know, I blew my knee out again. Then I tore my hamstring, you know, so then she was like, oh, not signing you off this year. So,
yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I will send that out tomorrow, but there is a chart on the back on, you know, one of the last pages of the health form, and there's a chart by weight.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot, Wally.
Oh, no problem. I'll talk to you later, John. Thanks.
Later, Wally.
Do you still want me to stay about 2026, or did you tell me everything you wanted to tell me?
No, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Let me take care of Alan, and then Matthew's 2026 too. So let me talk to both of you on that.
Okay.
Alan, Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. You said you had someone that might be interested in the adult one?
I hadn't heard of that before. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah. During the fall, there is adult only, and it is we are planning another one. We had a council one this past summer, and we're planning one for this past fall, and we're planning for another one in September. And it's adult only, and it generally we leave on a Saturday, get there on a Sunday, go out 5 days on the trail, 4 nights, and then come home on Saturday and get home on Sunday night. And it was a blast. Yeah, I mean, I've done it two times, and I plan on doing it again next year. And it is just a lot of fun, and it's not hard. We don't have any 10 or 12 mile days. Everyone's a little older, so maybe 6 miles, 7 miles a day.
Okay. Yeah, I'd appreciate if you send me info on that,
Sure.
especially the dates.
Yeah.
I'd have to check with my son, but my son didn't ever get to go with me in the troop. He's
All
like
right. Well,
19 or 20, so he could count as an
okay.
adult.
Okay. I'm going to send you a little bit of information,
Okay.
and you can sign up just like for this meeting tonight. And we're actually going to have a phone call in a couple weeks and pick a date.
Okay.
But it will be in September. They generally only do that in the early fall
Okay.
before the weather gets too bad in the mountains.
Right. Yeah. And I'll have to check his interests, but also his college schedule.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Too. Do you have my email to send that info?
Yeah. I'll just use the one that I sent you for this meeting.
Yeah, sure. Sounds
Okay.
good.
That works.
All right. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. David and Matthew.
Yes.
All right. You guys have possibly an interest in 2026.
Correct.
Yes.
All right. How many? I mean, being let's see, being like conservative, how many do you think youth you would have?
I would say
Conservatively,
3, maybe 4. High side would be 6.
yeah, I was gonna say 2 to 4.
All right. How many adults do you think? Do you think we have any problem getting 3 or 4 adults?
One of my youth right now will be 18 at that point in time. So depending on those answers to the questions we were asking earlier, one of them might be an adult. And I might be able to have another adult. Or so I would think I'd be able to have 2 to 3 adults if we needed. I mean, I'm not trying to take up spaces. I'm saying like I could possibly provide that.
All right. Matthew, what do you think?
I think one adult.
I mean, that's okay. We can't take more than 4. So,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it.
Yeah,
and
and I would love to go.
I'm not too sure who it would be at that time, but yeah, that I would say definitely
exactly.
one.
I would love to go, but I did now just go look at that weight chart, and I'm a good at the moment 20, 30 pounds over that, so I would have to be pushing to get down there. So we'd have to see. So, but I've got other adults in our group that I think would be interested. So,
All right. I think this would be a great way because by yourself you would not be able to go. You wouldn't have enough people, but the 2 of you together, and if there's room for an extra youth, we could actually add another youth in if it comes out to that at the end.
yeah.
Well,
I guess my question would be is, do you have a more detailed breakdown of the costs as far as,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'd be, you know, not just necessarily in this meeting, but if you could send
No,
those.
no,
that'd
no,
be
I can
helpful.
give you a ballpark right now. Hang on.
Okay. Because I'm sure it depends on the size of the group, what you can do for transportation costs. That's my only question is right now is what that breakdown is.
Yeah, let's see here.
While he's looking that up, Matthew, where you guys, what troop are you and where are you guys at?
Troop 61, so we're in the middle of Milwaukee, so roughly. So we're Mother Good
Like
Council.
Milwaukee itself or Wauwatosa, or what are you talking about?
Over by in Darris Park.
Oh, okay, all right. I know in Darris Park. Okay.
Yeah, so we have
Cool.
the scout house there. Yeah, so we've gone through some fluctuations, so we'd with COVID, so we would have a new group that at a minimum I'd say we could count on 3 definitely still being active in the troop at that time in 2026, and then if we have additional troop boys that join, that happens regularly, we might have more.
All right.
Yeah.
If you're talking the 12-day, we're probably talking 21 to 2,200.
Mm-hmm. And what's the Philmont portion of that cost?
Over 1,700.
1,700 for.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly transportation, anything over that.
Okay. And then the 7-day for, I'm not too
The
sure.
7-day, which I think is a good option, it's under 1,900.
No, but with the Philmont part of it.
Oh, Philmont is 1,400.
1,400. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just collecting numbers.
unfortunately, the base cost of just going to Philmont is so much, and then the extra days don't add that much to it.
Okay.
Because between the 7-day and the 12-day, we're talking $300.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looks like you're kind of budgeting like 400 or so for like taking the train out there, the Sky Chief.
Yeah, the train is somewhere in the 300. Sometimes we can get it lower.
Okay.
And then it's $55 for the transportation round trip between the train station and Philmont.
Okay.
And then we throw in the insurance so that everyone attending has insurance. I mean, there's the majority of it, 99.999% of it is all transportation and the cost of Philmont. There's really not much else to it.
Okay, but the insurance part, is that over and above the normal BSA?
That's the part that the council pays for the accident insurance and everything.
Okay.
We're talking $10. We're not talking big money.
Okay. Gotcha. And then what would be the time? I mean, what would be the time frame from a decision for us to that you need to work with Philmont? Is what sounds like we're already there.
I'm kind of like, given that we're kind of a little bit anyway, their deadline is a little bit late, and I didn't push the 2026 because I wanted to see if there was interest in 2025. But I would say before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Is that doable or?
Yes, because we would have we could put this up for a vote for the boys in terms of their interest, and then I would have to talk to the committee to get buy-in from the committee for this as an option.
Mm-hmm.
then I'd be able to let you know.
Okay,
Yeah, I
David?
think same for us too. Yeah, we should be
okay,
able to
same,
do
same
that
for you. Okay,
next month.
all right. Is there a time
Yeah.
frame that you guys would work better for you around when you go to camp or something, when you go to summer camp?
Yeah, that's actually the hardest problem. We usually go the third week. We used to go to Long Lake the third week of July. So I don't know when we maybe would change if we're doing this trip. I don't know. It also depends on how many kids are going. When do you guys normally do summer camp, Matthew?
Well, we do our summer camp at the last 2 weeks of July, or a week,
Okay. So
last
that's
week of July.
roughly the same time we do. So
Yeah, and we always have that for all the scouts. So this was what we call our high adventures. So this would be for the older scouts. So we definitely can't have a conflict with our regular summer camp, because we do have the junior leaders there for summer camp. So I would lean towards the latter part of June.
All right.
For that,
Yeah.
because it's kind of before camps and then school starts kicking in, especially if you older boys in high school, or or soon to be freshmen. Usually, August gets consumed by that sort of thing. So I think late June or early July would be a good time for planning this. And it's just after, like a week after was it I think it's mid-June actually for most Milwaukee or Wisconsin schools.